Good evening. You see this. This is the August 3rd, 2022 Seminole County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. My name is Bob Turnage. I'm the chairman for tonight's meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to introduce the Deputy County Attorney, David Shields, for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to Florida law, the public has a right to be heard on all propositions. Public comment time on propositions is limited to 3 minutes for individuals and 6 minutes for group representatives. The right to be heard during quasi-judicial hearings is governed by Florida law. The public will be provided the opportunity to be heard on non-agenda matters at the end of the meeting. Proper decorum will be observed.
Thank you. This board is a 7-member board appointed by the Board of County Commissioners. A quorum has been established to hold tonight's meeting. Public hearing items acted upon by this board are referred to the Board of County Commissioners for further consideration. Board members tonight are myself, Bob Turnage, Commissioner Dan Lopez, Clarissa Lawhorn, Commissioner Tim Smith, and Commissioner Richard German. Staff present tonight: Mary Moskowitz. Oh, she went. David Shields, who you've already heard from. Bill White, Professional Engineer, Development and Review Public Works. Doug Robinson, Principal Planner. Joy Giles, Senior Planner. Annie Silloway, Senior Planner. And Stacia Henry, Clerk to the P&Z Board. She takes care of us. Tonight's meeting will go as follows. Staff will introduce the item. Then the applicant will present the item. Audience members wishing to speak will then be heard. Please make sure you complete a comment card and give it to the clerk. Comment cards are located in the lobby. Audience speakers should restrict their comments to information directly related to the item being heard. Audience speakers will have 3 minutes to speak, or 6 minutes if representing an HOA or a group. When called, speakers should approach the microphone and provide your name and address for the record. The board may ask questions of the speaker. After all speakers have been heard, public comment will be closed. The applicant will be given a chance for rebuttal. Any items shown, such as videos, presentation, pictures, or maps, must be left with the clerk for the public record. Items shown from electronic devices should be emailed to the clerk. A motion will be made and seconded. Board discussion may occur and conclude with a vote. If there's a split vote, I will ask a roll call vote. Otherwise, we will do a voice call. The first item on the agenda is approval of proof of publication. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next we will hear technical review items. The first one is Broadstone Retail, PSP, Project Manager, Joy Giles.
Yes. Good evening. Joy Giles, Senior Planner for the Planning and Development Division. This is a request for approval of the Broadstone Retail Preliminary Subdivision Plan on 5 acres located at the southwest corner of West State Road 46 and International Parkway. In April of 2019, the Broadstone Parkway Preliminary Subdivision Plan was approved for 2 commercial lots on 17.04 acres. The applicant is now requesting approval of the Broadstone Retail Preliminary Subdivision Plan on 5 acres, formerly known as Lot 2 of the Broadstone Parkway plat. The PSP consists of 4 commercial lots with a minimum lot size of 1 acre and an overall maximum floor area ratio of 0.35. The development will access from West State Road 46 with a secondary access from International Parkway as a cross-access easement. The PSP complies with the required conditions of Seminole County subdivision regulations and the Broadstone Parkway PD development order. Therefore, staff recommends approval. Thank you.
Do we have questions from the board?
Oh, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
We do have a minor correction for the PSP, and Bill White is going to explain that.
Good evening, Board. Bill White, Public Works. We did determine a minor inconsistency with the property boundary on the east side. So there's a little pie-shaped sliver of right-of-way that we were looking to have deeded to the county, and we'll take care of that at final plat. But it does not change anything else on the plan itself. It doesn't affect any of the setbacks or the landscape buffers. It'll just be a additional piece of property shown for dedication at time of final plat.
Okay.
I just wanted to put that on the record.
Has the applicant agreed?
Well, I guess I'll let Chad come up and talk about that.
Talk once. Chad Moorhead, Matt Moorhead and Stokes. Yes, Mr. White and I talked about that actually a few times over the last several years, and it was just forgotten about on this particular thing. We don't have an issue with it.
So you'll dedicate the right-of-way?
With the plat, when it's
Yeah.
done. Yes.
Okay. Any more questions for the applicant? Do we have any members of the audience wishing to speak on this item? Probably not.
It appears we do have somebody who's...
Okay.
Jerry Bogan, 5579 Syracuse Lane, Sanford, Florida. I'm a resident of Terracina at Lake Forest and a member of the HOA, a board member of the HOA. So I'm here to speak about Broadstone Retail Subdivision Plan. Our community is opposed to a recent revision to the plans. See note 9 under site data listed on drawing C100. It's this drawing, but the notes aren't visible. The note discusses hours of operation for the restaurants proposed in the development. C1 uses operating hours between 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. except for full-service sit-down restaurants, which may operate from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday and until 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, and except for fast food and fast casual restaurants, which may operate between 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday and until 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Currently, there are 4 food establishments on State Road 46 near our community. Popeyes, the restaurant is open until 10 p.m. daily. Drive-through is open till 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Lay's Pho is open until 9 p.m. each night, closed on Sunday. Tijuana Flats, open until 9:30 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, 9 p.m. Sunday and Monday. Riverwalk is open until 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Dexter's in Lake Mary, which is not considered in our area, it's 2 miles away, is open until 9 p.m. Monday through Wednesday, midnight Thursday through Saturday, and 8 p.m. on Sunday. So the proposed development should be required to operate like the other area restaurants. 2 a.m. is not in character for our area and invites issues related to irresponsible behaviors that often occur at that time. During the past 5 years, the Terracina at Lake Forest entrance gate has been crashed into 4 times. The gate is well lit. Each time, the damage was caused by a driver under the influence. On 3 occasions, damage occurred when the gates were completely lit by Christmas lights. 1 of the 4 vehicles ended up in the retention pond. A second crashed into the clubhouse exercise room. All of these drivers were not residents. The community is lucky no one was killed. We keep a spare set of gates because this happens on a regular basis. In our opinion, allowing a nearby bar to be open until 2 a.m. is not in character with our community and encourages irresponsible behavior. We request that the operating hours be consistent with the other local area establishments. Thank you.
Joey, would you like to comment?
Yes, sir. So those conditions were conditions that were approved by the Board of County Commissioners in 2019 when the PD was approved. And that's why they continue over for the subdivision plan.
So that's not something we are allowed to consider tonight?
No, that would be an amendment to the PD.
Do we have any other members of the audience wishing to comment on this? Board, any more questions? No. Then we'll close public comment. Applicant, do you have any more to say? Okay. Board, any more questions, discussion, motion?
I move we approve the Broadstone Retail PSP.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Next, Myrtle Preliminary Development Plan, Project Manager Annie Silloway presenting.
Good evening, Annie Silloway, Development Services.
Andy, can I ask you a quick question before you start?
Yes, sir.
This is a preliminary development plan. It's not a public hearing. Why is it not listed as a public hearing?
Because this development is within the Urban Conservation Village Design Corridor.
Thank you.
Overlay. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? Any other questions? No? Okay. So this request is for consideration of Myrtle Preliminary Development Plan containing 21 lots on 14.27 acres, zoned A1 agriculture, located south side of Myrtle at the corner of Lake Avenue and Myrtle Street, approximately a quarter-mile west of South Sanford Avenue. The applicant proposes to develop a single-family residential subdivision on 14.27 acres with a maximum density of 2 dwelling units per net buildable acre for a total of 21 lots with a minimum lot size of 5,500 square feet. The subject site has a suburban estates future land use designation with A1 agriculture zoning, which permits a maximum density of 1 unit per acre with a minimum lot size of 1 acre. However, the site is located within the Urban Conservation Village Design Overlay, which allows a maximum of 2 units per net buildable acre when developed under a cluster design. The overlay approval process requires a preliminary development plan to be reviewed and approved by the Board of County Commissioners, followed by approval of the final development plan and developer's commitment agreement. The intent of the Urban Conservation Village Design Overlay is to encourage a cluster design that promotes a much smaller lot size that commonly seen in traditional zoning classifications in order to preserve large open space greenways for the benefit of the residents. The cluster development must preserve a minimum of 50% of the net buildable area exclusive of any wetlands and floodplain as an open space greenway tract preserved under a conservation easement. Additional design criteria requirements include a 15-foot minimum width buffer around the perimeter of the development, except for the boundary fronting on Myrtle Street. All structures must maintain a perimeter setback of no less than 35 feet and no less than 140 feet from the center line of Myrtle Street. The development must connect to public utilities, and at the time of final engineering, the development must incorporate stormwater volume reduction by retaining on-site the difference between pre-development and post-development runoff volume for a 25-year, 24 storm event when recovery of 75% of volume within 72 hours of the storm event. Staff has determined that the proposed plan meets the intent and requirements of the Urban Conservation Village Design Overlay in accordance with the Seminole County Land Development Code, Section 30.481. A 15-foot buffer will be provided along the east, west, and south perimeter. The lot design layout will ensure that all structures will be in compliance with the perimeter building structure setbacks. The development will connect to public utilities, and 50% of the net buildable acreage, which is approximately 5.26 acres, will be designated as greenway open space and placed in a conservation easement. The applicant will be providing 5.79 acres. Staff recommends approval of the Myrtle Preliminary Development Plan containing 21 lots on 14.27 acres zoned A1 agriculture located on the south side of Myrtle at the corner of Lake Avenue and Myrtle Street, approximately a quarter mile west of Sanford Avenue. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Board, any questions? Okay, is the applicant here?
Yes.
Chad Moorhead, Madden Moorhead and Stokes, 431 East Horatio Avenue. Here to answer any questions if you have any.
Board have any questions? Okay, thank you. Would any member of the audience wish to speak in favor or opposition to this request? All right, then I'll close. Do we have any, are we online anymore? Do we have Zoom?
No, we didn't, no longer on Zoom.
Okay,
Thank
so I
you.
don't even have to ask that. Thank you. So I'll close public comment. Applicant, I assume you don't want to get back up here again? Okay. Board questions, discussion, or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the Myrtle Preliminary Development Plan containing 21 lots on 14.27 acres, zoned A1 agriculture, located on the south side of Myrtle at the corner of Lake Avenue and Myrtle Street.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we move to the public hearing items. First item is number 3 on our agenda, Alafaya Cove Rezone, Project Manager Annie Silloway. Again.
All right, good evening. Annie Silloway, Development Services. This is a request for a rezone from A1 Agriculture to R1A Single Family Dwelling for a single-family residential subdivision on approximately 4.48 acres, located on the east side of Alafaya Trail, approximately 1,000 feet north of Kerrigan Avenue. The applicant is requesting a rezone from A1 Agriculture to R1A Single Family Dwelling in order to develop the subject property as single-family residential subdivision with a minimum lot size of 9,000 square feet, a minimum lot width at building line of 75 feet. The subject property has an existing future land use designation of low-density residential, which allows a maximum net density of 4 dwelling units per net buildable acre. The intent of the low-density residential land use designation is to provide appropriate locations for standard detached single-family residence. Open space requirements are not required for the A1 zoning district. A more defined study to show tree preservation will be required at the time of final development plan. A community meeting for this project was held on June 15th, 2022. Approximately 17 people attended. Copy of the community meeting minutes and sign-in sheet were attached in your packet. The site is located in the Seminole County Utility Service Area. This project will be required to connect to the county's potable and reclaimed water systems, and the property has water and sewer capacity to serve the proposed development. The applicant is required to obtain an access permit from FDOT for access onto Alafaya for the proposed development. If access is not granted off of Alafaya Trail by FDOT, then the access would need to be provided from the Seminole Terrace neighborhood to the south of the proposed site. The applicant has been notified by FDOT that while connection to the local streets providing access to Kerrigan Avenue signal is preferred, if the county prohibits any connection to the local street network through Seminole Terrace neighborhood, documentation of the prohibit will need to be provided to the Florida Department of Transportation before a connection to State Road 434 will be considered. Final access will be determined at preliminary subdivision plan approval. There is an existing sidewalk along Alafaya Trail. The developer will not be required to build a sidewalk along Alafaya Trail, but may have to make repairs to the sidewalk if it is broken or does not meet ADA requirements. Buffers will be determined at final engineering approval and will be in compliance with the Seminole County Land Development Code. The proposed R1A single-family dwelling zoning classification is compatible with the surrounding trend of development in the area and is consistent with both the allowable uses and density provisions of the low-density residential future land use designation. I would like to state that for the record that an email was sent on August 1st from Daniel Cooney at 2828 Lexington Court, Oviedo. The email was forwarded to the commissioners on concerns regarding the access of the development, and a copy was given to you all tonight. And then another email was sent on August 2nd from Joe Rogdon. Excuse me, I'm sorry. At 2960 Lowry Drive with his concerns on utilities, access to the neighborhood, elevations and flooding, and zoning. And a copy of the email has been given to the commissioners as well. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agriculture to R1A single-family dwelling for a single-family residential subdivision on approximately 4.48 acres located on the east side of Alafaya Trail, approximately 1,000 feet north of Kerrigan Avenue. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I do. It wasn't in the staff report, but I read something in the public meeting minutes. How many units? It's 12, they said?
There was talk of 12, but we don't have a development plan because it's straight zoning at this time. So
Okay.
they don't have to have a master development plan. That's already only for planned developments.
So subject to change.
Yes. Mhm. We'll find out at preliminary subdivision plan.
Any more questions from the board? Okay. Applicant?
Good evening. For the record, Kim Fisher, 1614 White Dove Drive, Winter Springs, Florida, 32708. I am representing the contract purchaser on this and the owner of the property. We are in agreement with staff, and we are here to address any comments, any questions that you might have, either now or after public input.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you. I know I've got several comment cards here from the audience. I will call you forward. Please come up to the podium and repeat your name and address. Adam Jackson.
That's me, but that's for Candace Park, and they
Oh,
didn't-
sorry. They told me item 3. Okay. Candace Park. It would help to put the item number on here for me. Okay. If anyone has comments for or against, please come up to the podium.
Hi, my name is Joe Rigdon. I live at 2960 Lowry Drive. I'm 3 lots south of where the south border of this is. And I have a lot of concerns about this as far as flooding and particularly road access. We know FDOT is against allowing access off Alafaya Trail. And we have 4 streets in Seminole Terrace that go right up to the border of this property. And then I don't like the idea of extending these streets into their property, which I'm sure is what they're planning. And our zoning is R1AA, and I would ask that if you do permit this subdivision, that you zone it R1AA in keeping with our community. The R1A communities in that area have a real parking problem because of all the UCF traffic and UCF students living in the neighborhood. So I've written an email, so I hope you'll take time to read that. I go a little more into some of my concerns about flooding and other issues. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
And if you do make fill out your comment cards and give them to the clerk, please.
Hi, I'm Steve Gerwig. I live at 2911 Bowling Drive. I am right on the borderline of the south side of the property, and I agree on the aspect of their rezoning should be R1AA, just the same as Seminole Terrace. And I mean, we bought, in that area because it was a dead-end road, and now they're wanting to incorporate it and tie them all together because they mentioned that in their meeting on June the 15th. So they're going to disturb the tranquility of our neighborhood just for revenue, and I'm opposed to it. If they go and they're under the same restrictions what we were, been great, but they have to have their own entrance and exit to develop that. We shouldn't be hindered by it. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Hovey. John Hovey, 2957 Boland Drive. Lived there 10 years. Those streets were not developed to handle more traffic than what we already have. The parking the access and parking on all 4 of those streets that were designed in the early 70s. We have they're 16 foot wide. There's no infrastructure. There's no sidewalks. There's no curbs. There's nothing on there. We're right up against, Bill knows, we're right up against the backside of the commercial property. And by allowing access, I mean, there's people parking on every street. So there's other issues that I would hope you would consider in approving this, because if they don't have access out onto Alafaya Trail, I mean, there's nowhere to go. There's cars in the road on every street. So it's already a problem. And without the infrastructure, I know they were working on something with roads and drainage and stormwater and stuff for long-range planning, for changing some of the access of some of these streets and Kerrigan. But it's all in the works. So I'm sure Ms. Silway's aware of what I'm talking about, and so is Bob Delary, because he's been a part of it for the last year and a half, as some of the commissioners have too. So I'm not against them building the neighborhood. I'm against the access through Seminole Terrace, because it's not developed for, probably 3.5 cars per house, times however many houses. They're saying 12. We've been told 25, up to 25, because the plan hasn't been submitted. So you're basing a decision on inaccurate information, or incomplete information, not inaccurate, but incomplete. And it is going to affect us for the rest of our lives. And I don't think any of you guys live on these streets. So, yeah, it means something to us. So, thank you.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
You bet.
Are you on public utilities, or you have well and septic?
Well and septic.
So all your neighbors are...
Everybody in there is well and septic.
Thank you.
There's no fire hydrants. There's no street lights, sidewalks. There's nothing. So we're rural, and we love it. We want to stay that way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Yu. I'm at 2940 Division Street in Oviedo. We live on the northeast corner, 4 streets from the proposed development change. The 2 houses at the end of our street have severe water damage already as it is. When it rains, it floods down there. And we are against the access on our street into this new neighborhood. All of the first 3 streets from Alafaya Trail up to Division Street are double-wide roads. Ours is single. When they came in to pave our neighborhood several years ago, they had asked all of the neighbors on that street if they wanted a 2-lane road or to keep it single. We all opted for single, because if they put in 2 lanes, it would take up 16 feet of our property to widen the road. That doesn't include sidewalks. And we are right up against the wall for the subdivision of Seminole Woods. So it's a big concern for us, because we're going to lose a lot of our property, and it's going to lower our value. So that's for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Hi, good evening. My name is Juan Delgado. I live on 2923 Lowry Drive. I served in the military for about 10 years in the United States Marine Corps before I got my disability. That included, some included sleep apnea and PTSD. I have a service dog. I searched far and wide for a home that, for my homestead, that I could be secluded and alone, and I could deal with my issues at hand. I live at the very end of the Lowry Drive, so I'm the last house on the block, right before where they're trying to build. There's a there was an empty lot on the side of me as well, so I'm literally the last one there. I paid a premium for my property. I did a lot of work to it so that I could call it my home. I pretty much, I paid a premium because I needed it for my disability to kind of be secluded. I saw the current zoning, and I figured there'd be no road access at the end there to go. And now they're trying to change it, so I asked that you oppose this because in approving it, doing so, I will have to uproot from where I'm at with that through traffic coming through, and as well as my property value going down now after paying a premium. I've only been there for about a year now, and having to uproot is going to just disturb everything that I had going on, also lower the value of my home, and that's pretty much it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eric Lichtenmeyer, 2935 Moore. I just want to stand in front of you and tell you that I reiterate everything that everyone has attested to so far relative to access, infrastructure costs, property value, quality of life. Raising 3 children on a dead-end road is very, very different than what we're talking about right now. And so the access levels that we're asking for, I am all for economic development in the infrastructure of the community. But what I believe is the right thing for this committee to do is to go to the next step on that pre-planning development, because there is a huge difference between 12 units and 25 units. And the infrastructure costs associated with supporting that and the disruption in the community is going to be, it's impactful. Not only economically, property values, tax bases. I mean, I could go on and on. I know I don't have a lot of time. And I'm a newcomer to the neighborhood. Actually thought about investing in other parts of the neighborhood. So I would ask you to take this into its heavy consideration. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other public comment for or against?
My name is Jessica Bott. I live at 2940 Moore Drive. I'm 3 houses down from the property that is to be built. We bought this house because we wanted to be secluded away from everything. It's a dead-end street. We want to start a family. It's an ideal situation right now. Having a through street would really hinder what our goals for life are. So we're opposed to this potential development being a through street.
Thank you. Ma'am? Ma'am?
Excuse me.
Any other public comment for or against? Applicant, would you like to speak?
Again, for the record, Kim Fisher. I want to be clear here. I'm not sure where 25 homes came from. It definitely didn't come from us. It physically doesn't fit. We've never intimated it. We've never said it. We can't even fit 25 homes. We did say we're probably closer to 12. We are in agreement with staff with doing the R1A, which is a 75-foot wide lot. The subdivision to our north is also R2. It's an R2, but it's 75-foot wide lots. The subdivision to our south, which most of the speakers are from, they're actually platted 70 and 75-foot wide lots to our south. So it's an older zoning from a long time ago that had a little bit different. A lot of them have double lots, and they have partial lots to go along, and then many of them also are on a 75-foot wide lot. So we are in agreement with staff for the rezoning to be an R1A.
Okay.
Question.
Board?
How are you going to handle utilities? Are you going to be septic and well also?
We're definitely going to have water from Alafaya, and we're still working through if there's a force main. I'm not sure which side of Alafaya, so we're still going to be working through that, whether
So
it's
you're not
gonna
going to drag that up the streets that these people live on?
No.
Okay.
And then let me point out, since I'm up here, the access. So we had a meeting with DOT, and DOT would prefer us to go down to the south so that we have a signal at Kerrigan. Now, they also said that if the county has some kind of vehicle, whether it's a development agreement or something in writing, then they would honor it if it pleases the board for us to access on Alafaya. So as of right now, unless they have something from the county stating that we can't have access to the south, then they will allow us to have access from 434. So doesn't necessarily have to be this board, but it's definitely something that we're working with staff on and we'll be addressing at BCC to see what is the preference.
So this is something that we could add? Like
So
as an
this is
amendment
a-
to the development order, or?
This is a straight zoning project, so there was no development order associated with this project.
So it can't be this board?
With a straight zoning project, we do not have development orders.
I have
Yeah.
one other question.
Go ahead.
So then if access does go from the south through these streets, what, if anything, would be done to improve the roads infrastructure-wise, width-wise? Will they be losing part of their lot?
No. If we were to access from the south, we would, with staff, figure out which street to access from, whether it's one street, whether it's multiple streets. We had a couple conversations earlier, kicking around the bucket early on in the process on how we would handle it, and that's just something that we would have to revisit on how to handle so that we don't produce a non-conforming lot, because, for instance, any of the lots that are at the dead end, if we have a street going, now they become a corner lot, and so then they would be non-conforming, so we would need to avoid that somehow, and I think when we spoke with Mary, we would put some kind of a small tract in there so that, as to that we didn't create a non-conforming lot with creating a corner lot for those end parcels.
Along the south side of your site?
Along the south side of our site would be the access, if we were to access from Alafaya. So then, if they're along the south side, potentially that could create corner lots for the existing homes on those 4 streets, Boland, Lowry. I'm squinting, I can't see it, I'm sorry. And then, like I said, I think Mary had suggested we would do a few feet of a tract, so that way we don't create an issue and create corner lots inadvertently of the existing parcels.
Commissioner Lopez.
Is there a developer preference as far as where you would put the access if the DOT wasn't a factor in this?
This is probably the first and only time I will say this, is the developer actually doesn't have a preference.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons we've kind of been holding back on doing different concepts, because it would be 5 different concepts or potentially more. Do we access Alafaya? Do we access one of the streets, 2 of the streets, 4 of the streets to our south? But they actually don't have a preference. We need, at some point, whether it's a development order, whether it's something else, I realize we don't typically do development orders for a straight rezone. Doesn't mean we can't have something else, call it whatever you want, to get us to the end result, if that is what the board wishes for us to access Alafaya.
So if this rezoning were to be approved, and if at some future appropriate time, you would get the information needed in order to change the DOT's mind, you would be open to and willing to put access on through Alafaya, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. If the board wants us to access Alafaya, we just need something to present to DOT saying that, the county does not want us to access through the southern streets.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mary, what would be needed and at what stage of the process would that be done? And how realistic is it?
I would let Mr. Shields answer that.
Again, for the record, David Shields, Deputy County Attorney. Commission, this is not the time to impose any kind of conditions, including the access. We have a law in Florida against what's called contract zoning, and if we put a condition on the zoning decision that could run afoul of the law against contract zoning, there will be ample opportunity to deal with this issue once we get into the site plan approval process. That's really where this should be addressed, not for the zoning. Here it's just a straight up or down decision. Do we approve the change of the zoning?
Any other questions, discussion? Motion? Anyone like to make a motion?
I have a question of staff. Annie, if everything pretty much around this is R1 AA, why did you okay with R1A?
Because I looked at the plat to the south. It was platted in 1957 for 70-foot width to 75-foot width lots. And then the lots to the north are 70 to 75-foot width lots. So that was the decision and research that I did, and came to the conclusion that R1A would be fine. And the zoning is just setting them at a minimum. They could go bigger. They could do bigger lots.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any more discussion? Do I hear a motion?
No, I have some more discussion.
Okay.
I'm not comfortable with this as straight zoning because of the way the property's configured, the size of the property, the access is not worked out, and we cannot impose any conditions on straight zoning. So I would prefer to see a PD here, but since those issues are there, the applicant didn't do that, I'd like to move that we table this for another month until our next meeting for the applicant and staff to try to resolve the issues of our concern here and the neighbor's concern. So my motion is to table Alafaya Cove rezoning to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next public hearing item is number 4, Sipes 146, 147, small-scale future land use map amendment and rezone. Project manager, Annie Silloway.
Tell these people that'll be next month it comes back.
We'll get some
They're
more
leaving.
answers
Tell
from
them.
Yeah. Everyone interested? This should be on the agenda for next month.
Good evening, Annie Silloway, Development Services. This request is to consider a small-scale future land use map amendment from commercial to low-density residential and a rezone from C1 retail commercial to R1 single-family dwelling for one residential lot on approximately .18 acres located along Sipes Avenue, approximately 184 feet north of State Road 46. The applicant is requesting a small-scale future land use map amendment and rezone in order to develop a single-family residence on the existing parcel. Subject site is required to meet the R1 single-family dwelling zoning, providing a minimum lot size of 8,400 square feet and 70-foot width lot. The acreage of the lot does not provide an adequate size for the commercial building, retention, buffering, and parking, so the applicant is requesting to rezone to allow for one single-family residence. The subject site is a parcel of record and it is within the Packard's first addition to Midway, platted in 1917, and the original plat created 40-foot width lots. The subject site does not meet the required lot width and size for the R1 single-family dwelling, but since the subject property is within the Midway Community Development Block Grant Target Area, Policy FLUP 4.3 allows the county to consider changes to allow for infill development on existing lots of record in the 1971 tax roll that do not meet the current required lot sizes and widths. In addition, there are a number of single-family houses built on the platted 40-foot width lots. Therefore, the request is consistent with the character of the area. A community meeting for the project was held on June 30th, 2022. Approximately one person attended. A copy of the community meeting minutes and sign-in sheet are in your packet. A school concurrency letter of determination was provided by the applicant determining that there will be no impact to the school generation of school concurrency requirements. Staff finds the proposed low-density residential future land use designation in R1 single-family dwelling zoning classification to be consistent with the comprehensive plan and the Seminole County Land Development Code. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting the small-scale future land use map amendment from commercial to low-density residential and a rezone from C1 retail commercial to R1 single-family dwelling for one residential lot on approximately .18 acres located along Sipes Avenue, approximately 184 feet north of State Road 46. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions from the board? Okay. The applicant here?
I have nothing to add to her
Okay.
presentation,
Will
but happy
the-
to answer any questions. You did a great job, man.
Just
Your
any
name?
questions from the board for the applicant?
Applicant.
Say your name.
Okay.
Travis Barr.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
we have no questions.
Okay.
Would any member of the audience wish to speak in favor or opposition to this request? Okay, can you come down to the podium, please? Carefully. State your name and address.
He did, he said he didn't want to speak.
I didn't want to speak, but I want to speak.
He's decided to speak.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
My name is Leon Hampton, and I own own a business on Sipes, and by them want to build a home down on Sipes. Let me go back a little bit. The building I own, the building that I'm talking about, it's been a joke for many years, and by them building residential homes on site, they're going to create a problem with the complaints on site. And me personally, I think it need to stay residential. Hey, it was commercial. It was commercial for many years. It's been commercial for at least, for I know, 60 years ago. And now all of a sudden they want to change it. I oppose against that. I feel though, if they want to do something else, let them put some type of business there. Sipes Avenue was a business street one time. And now all of a sudden, big bucks gonna come in, they want to change everything. And I'm against that. I don't run it, but I'm co-owner of a business on site. And by them putting homes on sites, which they don't put minimum on there. By them putting homes on sites, and then by running a club or a juke or something, then they're gonna create a problem. And I'm just against them putting more homes on sites. If it's commercial, leave it commercial. It's been commercial for many years. So, and I thank you for listening to me. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Oh, did we get his address?
Which one you want, my home address or the?
I do, yes.
You got it? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Just want to make sure we follow proper procedure. Any other comments for or against this request? Okay, we'll close public comment. Applicant, do you have anything to add?
Travis Barr again. We spent close to $20,000 in civil drawings trying to put a commercial building on site. Through our comments, it didn't underwrite. It's just not a big enough lot. There's 2 residential units to the north that we actually built and developed. To the south is a switch station that we couldn't acquire to make the lot bigger. And to the rear is another residential unit. So we couldn't get a bigger lot. Spoke to the county and said our easiest route is to actually pivot and build residential like we've been doing and investing into Midway. So our initial attempt was to do commercial, and it didn't underwrite through our development plan.
Okay.
So that's why we're here for the rezone.
Any questions from the board?
Can I?
You can't talk again?
If you make it quick.
Yes, very quick.
Okay.
Even though my man just said all that right there, but directly behind where he talking about 2 homes at, it's a business right there. That's why I don't understand why he couldn't put a business there, you know? The next street over is a business. It's a restaurant.
Okay.
So is that commercial or not?
Okay, thank you, sir. Board questions, discussion? Motion?
Make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from commercial to low-density residential, and adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from C1 retail commercial to R1 single-family dwelling for approximately .18 acres located along Sipes Avenue, approximately 184 feet north of State Road 46.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up is the Oviedo Vet Clinic Small Scale Future Land Use Map Amendment and PD Rezone. Project Manager, Annie Silloway. Are you doing everything tonight?
Are they overworking you?
No, not yet. You get Joy again.
We promise we have other staff members.
Not that we're complaining.
All right, Annie Silloway for the record, Development Services. The applicant is requesting a small-scale future land use map amendment from medium-density residential and commercial to planned development, and a rezone from A1 agriculture to C1 retail commercial to PD planned development for a proposed commercial veterinary clinic on approximately 3.49 acres located at the corner of Chapman Road and West State Road 426. The applicant is requesting a small-scale future land use map amendment and a rezone in order to develop the subject property as a veterinary clinic with 24-hour emergency care for animals, as well as medical and dental care. The applicant is proposing to rezone the PD plan development from the existing A1 agriculture that allows 1 dwelling unit per net buildable acre and the C1 retail commercial on the north portion of the land that allows a maximum floor area ratio of 0.35 for the commercial portion of the property. The intent of the commercial portion of the site is to include permitted uses of neighborhood and community shopping centers, convenience stores, retail sales, and other commercial services in order to retain the existing entitlements of its existing C1 retail commercial. The parcel to the south has existing A1 agriculture zoning uses and a future land use of medium-density residential, which allows for single-family dwelling, plant nurseries, and public and private elementary schools. And to keep the uses limited on the south parcel within the proposed development would limit uses only to be office, medical, dental, office, veterinary clinic. The proposed veterinary clinic and emergency services will be all interior to the building, and there will be no outdoor kennels on site. The applicant is proposing a total maximum floor area ratio of 0.20 for the total site, which is lower than the existing commercial future land use FAR of 0.35. The purpose behind the rezone future land use amendment to PD plan development is to provide sensitive site design achieved by application of performance standards such as, but not limited to, lot size, setbacks, buffering, landscaping, hours of operation, lighting, and building height. A community meeting for the project was held on July 11th, 2022. Approximately 12 people attended. FDOT has indicated that it will not permit access onto State Road 436, and the applicant will be required to provide a cross-access easement between the north and the south parcel. There is not an existing sidewalk along Church Street. The developer will be required to build a 5-foot sidewalk along Church Street. Let me go back to the access. I do want to state that access will be coming off of Church Street along the north parcel and the south parcel. The applicant proposes a 15-foot buffer along the north and the west portions of the site and a 10-foot buffer along the east. Buffer components will be established at final development plan. And 25% of common usable open space will be provided for the development of the site. Staff finds the proposed plan development future land use designation and plan development zoning classification to be consistent with the Seminole County Land Development Code and the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from medium-density residential and commercial to planned development and a rezone from A1 agriculture and C1 retail commercial to PD planned development for a proposed commercial veterinary clinic on approximately 3.49 acres located at the corner of Chapman Road and West State Road 426. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Questions from the board? Okay, applicant.
Good evening, Chairman, fellow commissioners. Brent Spain, for the record. We certainly support the staff's recommendation of approval, and we're eager to move forward with the project. Happy to answer any questions that you may have either now or after public comment.
Board, do we have any questions? Okay, thank you. Would any member of the audience wish to speak in favor or in opposition to this request? Okay, then I'll close public comment. No need for an applicant rebuttal unless the board has any questions. Questions of the staff? Do I hear a motion?
All right. I'll make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use map amendment from medium-density residential and commercial to planned development, and adopt the ordinance enacting a rezone from A1 agriculture and C1 retail commercial to PD planned development, and approve the associated development order and master development plan for approximately 3.49 acres located at the corner of Chapman Road and West State Road 426.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, Stockbridge Small-Scale Future Land Use Map Amendment and PD Major Amendment Rezone. Project Manager Joy Giles.
This is a request for a small-scale land use map amendment from planned development to planned development and a PD major amendment rezone from PD planned development to PD planned development on 2.22 acres located at the southwest corner of Sand Lake Road and Line Drive. The applicant is requesting a land use amendment and PD major amendment rezone on two parcels that total 2.22 acres for the purpose of expanding a parking lot for the existing church on the north portion of the property. The subject 1.59 acre parcel is known as Tract 7 of the Stockbridge PD, allowing for office and church uses, which, as I stated, the site is currently developed as a church. The subject 0.63 acre parcel is known as the Line Drive PD, approved in 2018 for a 4,600 square foot office. However, the site was not developed and it remains vacant at this time. The applicant proposes to combine the parcels together to expand the existing parking lot. No additional structures are proposed. The proposed amendment still supports the objectives of the PD zoning designation by exceeding a minimum of 25% open space and creating vehicular and pedestrian connectivity. The proposed development, the proposed development will also provide a perimeter landscape buffer of 10 feet along the west, south, and east perimeter to maintain compatibility with the surrounding property to the east, which is developed as residential. The applicant did have a community meeting in compliance with the Seminole County Land Development Code on February 10th, 2022. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale land use map amendment from planned development to planned development and the associated ordinance for a rezone from PD planned development to PD planned development on 2.22 acres as requested. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Okay, is the applicant present?
Hi, good evening. Selby Weeks with Klima Weeks Civil Engineering. I'm actually stepping in. My business partner is headed out of town, and the applicant has COVID. So here I am. But they did review the staff report and agree with the recommendations.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I have one. I saw mention of a community meeting and a couple of attendees showed up, but I didn't see what the comments were or the concerns.
I wasn't present at the community meeting, so I apologize, I can't comment for you.
For the record, it's in your packet.
Yes, I see it, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so it wasn't necessarily summarized, it just has some of the comments from the
Got it.
neighbors, so.
Can we release the applicant? or-
Oh, yeah, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
we're waiting on- I'm waiting for, would any member of the audience wish to speak in favor or in opposition to this request? Okay, I will close public comment.
You got anything else you want to say?
Anything else? Applicant, do you have anything else you want to say?
Chairman, I move we recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a small-scale future land use amendment from plan development to plan development, adopt the associated ordinance enacting a rezone from PD plan development to PD plan development, and approve the associated master development plan and development order on 2.2 acres located at the southeast corner of Sand Lake Road and Line Drive.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next in the agenda is Cadence Park PD Major Amendment Rezone, Project Manager Joy Giles.
Okay. Yes, this request is for a rezone from PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development to remove 0.33 acres from approximately 29.2 acres and to allow primary access to the Hidden Oaks subdivision from the Cadence Park subdivision, located on the south side of North Ronald Reagan Boulevard, approximately a quarter-mile east of County Home Road. In 2015, the Board of County Commissioners approved the Cadence Park PD on 29.2 acres for a single-family residential subdivision of 99 lots with one access point from Ronald Reagan Boulevard, known as Red Pine Way. 73 homes have been constructed, and 22 homes are currently under construction at this time. In October of 2020, the Board of County Commissioners approved the Hidden Oaks PD on 31.52 acres, located directly south of the Cadence Park PD. Hidden Oaks was approved for 109 single-family residential lots to be developed in 3 phases. Access to the development is from a network of county roads known as Gardens Drive and South Lane, with a secondary gated emergency-only access from Sunnyside Drive. The PD is currently under site construction for infrastructure and has not yet been platted. The applicant is requesting a PD major amendment and rezone to remove 0.33 acres from the Cadence Park PD and transfer it to the Hidden Oaks PD in order to provide vehicular and pedestrian connection between the two. And as you can see on the overhead, that's where the connection is going to be to the south. The Hidden Oaks PD will become Phase 2 of the existing Cadence Park subdivision and will access from Pine Way and Monterey Cypress Trail within the Cadence Park subdivision. A secondary gated emergency access only is proposed from South Lane, and the previously approved secondary access from Sunnyside Drive will be removed. To accommodate the additional traffic at the intersection of Red Pine Way and Ronald Reagan Boulevard, there will be a right turn lane constructed. With the removal of the 0.33 acres from the Cadence Park PD, the development will still provide 4.89 acres of open space, which exceeds the minimum requirement of the 4.12 acres. No other changes are proposed to Cadence Park. The proposed PD major amendment rezone is consistent with the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan by reducing the vehicular access points, which will prevent through traffic over multiple public roads, and providing pedestrian connection between the two residential subdivisions. In compliance with the Seminole County Land Development Code, the applicant conducted a community meeting via Zoom on June 13th, 2022. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting rezone from PD to PD to remove 0.33 acres from the Cadence Park subdivision located on the south side of North Ronald Reagan Boulevard, approximately a quarter mile east of County Home Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Okay, applicant? Like to.
Good evening. My name is Bill Mackey. I'm a landscape architect and land planner with the Daily Design Group. We're located at 913 North Pennsylvania Ave in Winter Park. I'm here tonight with Tina Demostine from MI Homes, as well as from my office, Tom Daly, and they'll be available to answer any questions that you may have as well. First of all, thank you for taking the time with us tonight. Joy did a fantastic job explaining the project. As she said, Cadence Park was approved in 2015. And as you remember, Hidden Oaks was approved in 2020. When Hidden Oaks was approved, it was with a different developer. It was Troon Development. Since that time, MI Homes has purchased Hidden Oaks. So our request tonight is, as Joy explained, is the way that Hidden Oaks was approved, we have the primary gated access off from South Lane, which is a 30-foot right-of-way, and it would have been coming down Gardens and accessing the property that way, with another emergency access, probably about 600 feet, 500 feet to the north of it, accessing Sunnyside Lane. Well, since that time, MI Homes has purchased it, so the request is to remove that access and provide primary access through Cadence Park into Hidden Oaks with a cross connection between the two of them. I apologize. So we've submitted a traffic report. And what the recommendations are, and staff's reviewed, is a turn lane along Ronald Reagan Road. So those are the improvements that we would be making. The plan for the access has been reviewed by the fire marshal, so they're okay with us only having one access with the emergency access. And I think it's important to iterate that we're not asking for any changes to any of our current entitlements, any of our buffers or our compatibility. That will all remain the same as is currently entitled. The only thing that we're asking for is to provide cross-access and adjust where the projects will be accessed from. And then also, Tom had something to add as well.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Can we do the overhead, Joy? Is that possible? Good evening. My name is Tom Daly. I work with Bill. I'm Daily Design Group, 913 North Pennsylvania Avenue. One thing I wanted to point out was that, the MI Homes is developing Cadence Park. They've sold a lot of homes there, and so we had a community meeting, and there was a lot of discussion about, cut-through traffic, things like that. And I'm going to leave this, obviously, here, but when MI started developing it, as Bill was saying, there was another builder that was looking at doing that southern part, Hidden Oaks. Because of the great success of Cadence Park, MI Homes decided to buy it, the project to the south, and to incorporate that into the Cadence Park development. So it's basically a phase 2 of the development. But the reason I'm standing up here is that because MI Homes had an inkling at the time that they started development that they may purchase that property to the south, they provided notification to each and every buyer within the community that states that there may be a second phase and that there may be adjustments to access and considerations to provide access to the properties to the south. And, I've got it highlighted here, and I can read it in more detail if the commission would like me to do it. But this was offered up not at the closing documents when you got a stack of papers like this and you're just signing. This document that was signed by each and every buyer was given to them when they offered the sales contract. So it was before closing, it was before the house started construction. Everybody in that community was notified that there may be another phase and there may be some changes to it. And, MI is trying to, certainly they've got customers that are on the ground there that they're dealing with, or they're, they're selling. And they wanted to make sure that they didn't, smoke and mirrors with anybody, coming down the line. And so I'm going to leave this here, and we can put this in the record. And again, if I need to read it specifically, I can, but I can tell you that it's very clear that, A, the property is going to be gated, B, that, this phase is contemplated, and, C, that there would be possible changes to roadway connections because of that. And it was very clear, it's on a one-page thing. Everybody that submitted a contract had to review it and sign it with their realtor. So I just wanted to point that out. I know we have some folks here that are here to comment on it. Obviously, we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. And included in this was the second page of it, and it's a map so that it was even more clear of where this southern property would be. And again, we can zoom in on it if we have to, but for the most part, it clearly states, here's the southern parcel that you're acknowledging may be Phase 2, and, here's the access considerations for it. And so, again, it was a two-page document, but, it was a colored map. It was intended to be very crystal clear to everybody that would happen. And it really is a better access point. I think most of you were on the board when our office did the Hidden Oaks. It was a struggle because our only legal access was through an existing older mobile home community. Roads were 30-foot wide right-of-ways and 50-foot right-of-ways, and the disruption was a big concern. But ultimately, the board decided that property was appropriate and that the access, being the only access at that point, this is Phase 2, was allowed to go forward. So we're cutting that access off, not changing anything of the character of that particular neighborhood, and we're pushing everything to the north and, basically expanding the existing community.
Okay, thank you. Would any member of the audience wish to speak in favor or in opposition? I know I have one, Adam Jackson.
Let the other people go first if they live in that neighborhood.
Oh, no. Okay. But they don't want to speak. Okay. You guys want to read these? Against, but they're not going to speak.
Hello. For the record, Justin Marchetti. I'm at 7075 Monterey Cypress Trail, Sanford, Florida, 32773. My property is actually located in that cul-de-sac that's supposed to be an entrance now. Yes, at the time of purchase, I was made aware that another developer had approved building homes on that property, on the Hidden Oaks property. But during, the time of sale, working with the salesperson, I was kind of misled, with her agreeing with me that, there's no way that they would close, or they would open that access point to go into that neighborhood. That makes no sense. And at this time, MI didn't own the property. I also had to pay a higher lot premium to be in that lot because it's one in a cul-de-sac and two across from a small playground. So paying a much higher lot premium and now getting, the factors of me paying that higher premium, they're just, you want to plan on taking that away. You add only one main entrance to a big neighborhood like that, average about 2 cars per household, you're going to have about over 400 cars going down Monterey Cypress Trail. My notice said that, I was informed of this public hearing because I'm within 500 feet of that entrance. I really hope that you guys notified the entire neighborhood, because I really don't think that matters, because that's going to affect them as well. Every day, because I do work from home, that construction, that through traffic is kind of a nuisance when you have big tractor trailers parked right in front of my driveway, because I'm the second to last house off of Monterey Cypress right there. Definitely not 22 homes being still constructed, because I live right across the street from what I believe is the last home, and I don't think it's fair that none of the residents can be part of the HOA, so we can, the residents can vote on these sort of things. Another concern is with those children playing on that small playground. They play in that cul-de-sac, and having more through traffic is a danger to them. I'm just really, I highly oppose this decision, not just for me personally, but also for my surrounding neighbors. Because during that meeting back in June, I don't have the recording, but I was under the impression that that disclosure was in our closing document, so I kind of wasted my time going through 105 pages. They had to send me that disclosure. Yes, it was signed at the time of purchase, but I still feel that I was a little misled into buying that property, because I feel that having a main entrance in a cul-de-sac is now going to affect my property value, because I really don't think anyone's going to live in a cul-de-sac with a through entrance, having over 400 cars going in and out. So it's a safety issue, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak for or against? Please come up. Approach the podium, name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Dan Borden. I live at 2686 Hinoki Cypress Place. I am for the project, but however, there needs to be better insight on what is being provided for that access. And I know I'm going against everyone that's probably in this room here. There's nothing we can do to really stop that development. It's already happened. The roads are almost built. So at this point, I'm just going to ask that the county commissioners review the plans and review that access point to allow that kids park to stay there, because in regards to the plans, it seems like they're wanting to take away the kids park and either move it or whatever, but it's a cul-de-sac, so it's going to become an entrance there. And my background is a civil engineer, by the way. I work in transportation, so I design roads for a living.
Hopefully not I-4.
I get that comment all the time, but with looking at the plan there's no close-up on the detail on how this access is going to be provided to that subdivision, which is owned by MI Homes. Understandably, it's going to be Cadence Park Phase 2. We're going to have neighbors there. There's nothing we can do to stop any of that at this point. The only thing I can beg is look at the traffic analysis in the community there, propose a better access through the community. There may be some implementation with speed bumps through that. And I understand that as a homeowner there, I was notified about the expansion of Phase 2 by my consultant signing the documents. I don't know if everyone had the same consultant within MI Homes, but I was notified, and of course it's shown that it's in the documents. So you got to pay attention to all that. I'm happy to be part of Cadence Park. It was community. Me and my wife just got married 2 years ago. We have a son, 10 months old now. So I'm excited to grow in this community. So the more people we have that are on the same side, it's just a matter of working within MI Homes. And I know my time's counting down, but maybe a roundabout at the cul-de-sac to eliminate the through traffic going fast. Put off-street parking there if the park is going to stay there. It's just all this stuff that MI Homes could work with our homeowners to make that a better situation for providing the access there. And I understand that some people are upset because, of course, they thought they were going to live on a cul-de-sac. But in reality, the documents were there knowing that either that would become another subdivision or it would be accessed through that point. That was the only access point to that property. So in closing, just provide better information regarding that access point.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
I got one.
Okay. Please state your name and address.
My name's Adam Jackson. I live at 5114 Sunnyside Avenue in Midway Park. First of all, I want to thank Daily Design for trying to rework the entryway to bring it through Cadence Park and into Cadence Park 2, because they were going to run it right down through our little neighborhood that's been there since 1917 on a single lane road that has access of 30 feet, but there's one lane there. No two cars can pass at the same time. They were going to rework that. When we agreed to change the zoning from commercial to residential, they promised they would rework the bridge and improve that drive. I believe that they're going to hold true to their promises, at least I hope. My concern is they've raised up the land all around on these houses. They've raised it up a good 4 feet. I mean, it's right to shoulder height on my daughter. And I bought and I paid for my property. I intend to build a home on it. And now the water always flows downhill. I haven't seen it flow uphill except for during the hurricanes. I'm concerned about that, and I know that they're holding their water is what they say, but I have seen an increased water flow going through the canal that runs through my property. I'd really like to have the surveys reviewed, because I know they had to do a survey before they put the Cadence Park in, and I know they're supposed to have one when they do Cadence Park 2. I'm really concerned about the water flow. I hate public speaking. There's been no maintenance on that canal since it was constructed. I believe they told me it was the Smith Canal when they constructed it. It's not designed to handle a lot of water flow. It may have been designed back in the day, but it has not been maintained. And since the last tropical storm came through, I had water at my back door, so I'm really concerned about that. I really do appreciate them wanting to run it through their own neighborhood, their entryway. I am okay with them putting an emergency access on South Street, but as far as one emergency access off of Sunnyside, I did not hear anything about that. And that's right at my front door. I am completely and utterly opposed. I already have a whole bunch of neighbors with barking dogs and loud cars at all hours of the day that I never had before. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. I think there was another. Please state your name and address.
Sure, my name's Aaron Michelet. I live at 2694 Hinoki Cypress Place in Sanford. I'm not opposed to joining the two neighborhoods. I think it's to be best. Like my neighbors, my wife and I, we're expecting a child. We want to grow up there. But what we are opposing is closing the back entrance. At least make it an exit only. 400 cars, just say it's 300 to 400 cars are going out that front entrance. That's a double blind curve on Ronald Reagan. Everybody knows that drives Ronald Reagan knows no one's going 45 miles an hour down that street. So you're already gauging traffic flying. They're opposing putting another turn lane in, so now we have to watch people trying to slow down, get into that lane, people going maybe 50 miles an hour, people going 70 miles an hour. Cops sit down there all the time trying to pull people over. It happens constantly. There's a turn, looking at this drawing to the left, I think it's Country Club Lane or something. Someone died there a few months ago trying to cross traffic. So now we're going to try and pump 400 cars to make a right-hand turn to then go down to another blind, which is not on this map, another blind U-turn to go back up to 1792. That is dangerous. We have kids that are eventually going to be driving. I want to see a 16-year-old try and navigate that and not get hurt. Like I said, I'm okay joining the neighborhoods. I think, like others have said, a roundabout would look way better than a street in an old cul-de-sac. That would look honestly ridiculous. And I think we need to do something about the children's play area. But I think that they do not need to close that entrance that was originally was originally in support from you guys. I think the only reason why they want to close it is they're trying to save a bunch of money fixing that road. So that's what I have to say. So thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, you've been very patient. Please state your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Rochelle Alva, and I live at 6081 Monterey Cypress Trail, Cadence Park. I'm not opposed to the building of the new neighborhood. I think that's awesome. We were all happy to buy a new home. But when I purchased my home at Cadence Park, one of the major selling points was I was getting a secure, gated community. At the last meeting, we were told that a gated community only means a community with a gate. Now, that's an insult. That's not what we were sold. We have never got that, and if we're building a new community that's going to use this as an entrance, we will not have that for another 3-4 years. That's just part of the problem. My friends have already spoken about what's going to happen with the traffic later on. Let's talk about what's happening now with the construction vehicles. We made a videotape last week of a construction vehicle trying to maneuver within the community. It was so long, it couldn't get out through the exit, so it went out through the entrance. The length of that vehicle, its tail was still in the community, and its head was at our entrance. Can you imagine a vehicle turning into Ronald Reagan and meeting that vehicle? None of us would have wanted that. Another problem is that this gate that was supposed to be closed, although they tell us it doesn't have to be, it makes us vulnerable now to solicitors who can come in throughout the day. And they can figure out our schedules. They know when the homes are empty. You all have homes. How many of you would feel secure with that when you purchase in a gated community? It also reduces our property value when we have construction vehicles moving throughout the day. We were told that they're going to be out by 6 o'clock. I am one of the first people who moved into the community, so I know what happens when the vehicles are there. They don't leave until after 8. That's notice that we signed about construction. When I moved in, there were only 3 of us living there. The construction for us was the construction of the rest of Cadence Park. MI did not even own the new community. So we could not be signing for this new building and for them using our gate unless MI has a crystal ball. If you allow this, you are saying to any builder that they can stick in this nefarious statement in their contracts and then do anything that somehow looks like that, and it will be acceptable. The third thing is the plan around the playground. When we have our children playing around an entrance, we give them access not just to traffic, but our kids are now available to predators who can see them on a daily basis and mark them on a daily basis. Would you want that for yourself, your children, your grandchildren? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for or against? If you'll come down here, sir. Please state your name and address.
My name is Peter Walther. I own property at 2917 Crockett Point. It's outside of the development. It's at the end of Garden Street, so I really don't have a dog in this fight. I was going to bite my tongue and not say anything at this meeting because I really don't have an interest in the outcome. But I wanted to point out the fact that MI's Homes presentation really focused in on the fact that the purchasers all signed these acknowledgement statements. I point out the fact that MI Homes purchased the property knowing it was subject to the current development order. So in my mind, one negates the effect of the other. So really, I'd simply ask the board to consider where's the least harm in the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Please come down to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Ragesh Kizikale. I'm at 6031 Monterey Cypress Trail, Cadence Park, the property which is currently exists today. We are not against the construction of new site, just that the entrance of it, which bisects the children's play area today. And as everyone pointed out, that's sort of a concern because if you have fast-moving vehicles and where the kids playing around and a very close proximity to the road, that certainly puts our kids' life at risk, and that's one thing which we want to definitely point out. The other thing, even though now we are getting a right lane, which was a demand from us from a long time, thank you for having that, but also on the same time, when we exit, it's still a very high-speed lane, and I'm worried about having this many vehicles getting out from this particular road, creating a traffic havoc for us, and also specifically, getting into the Ronald Reagan. So if there is an exit that at least we can use just for an exit purpose, that would be really recommended. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for or against? Okay, I will close public comments at this time. Applicant?
Well, I'm getting a feeling that one of the issues is the playground. The playground is going to be remaining in its location. It'll have to be adjusted just a little bit, but the playground is going to be reinstalled, so there will still be a playground, and it will still be in the same open space track that it's on. Relative to the entrance, as you all know, we go through a pretty stringent review process with your county staff, traffic engineering, traffic reports, and the results of all of that were that, we needed to do some improvements to the intersection at Ronald Reagan. And those improvements are a deceleration lane to get traffic off of it. We are not able to change the character of the median, which is a left-in only, and that's the current situation for all the residents that live there. That's what everybody bought, was that you had a right-in and if you're heading, I guess, westbound, it's a left-in. If you wanted to come out and make a left, you got to do a U-turn. And that when you're on these big roads, unfortunately, that's just kind of the way it is for access management, and that's all part of your policies and everything else. So, we're doing the best we can to improve the situation there at the intersection. You will see that design when it comes back, because the Hidden Oaks preliminary subdivision plan is going to be scheduled, I think, at your September meeting. And so if there's any information or details you want to see about that, and also I think there was talk about that, that where we're actually accessing, how we're tying into that cul-de-sac, all of those details will be provided to this board as an amendment to the preliminary subdivision plan. One thing I forgot to say was that this will be part of the HOA. The gates at the entrance will remain. This is a private road community. There won't be a gate between these two properties. It will all be one neighborhood. And all of the HOA dues, these additional people, the money will go into that HOA. And I've been told by the MI Homes folks that it actually will more than likely reduce the HOA fees for the overall community. But again, this is not a separate development with a separate gate and everything else. This is a cohesive development to where the new people that move in will be part of that HOA and will be part of the operation and maintenance of the gates. The gates will remain as currently installed. Let's see. Oh, and what Mr. Jackson was talking about, and I wish I had a graphic. There's a they call it a creek, it's a ditch, whatever you want to call it, but it kind of runs along west of this property. And as part of the construction plans for it, and when we did the Hidden Oaks one, there's a pipe that goes underneath South Street. And it was reinstalled after one of the big hurricanes, but they never upsized the pipe, the county. And so part of our approvals are to fix that crossing and to increase the size of the pipes, which will increase the drainage flow, which will help Mr. Jackson and his folks out, because right now it just flows south and backs up. There's very little maintenance on the pipe itself anyway, as you can expect. So that's something that is required as part of the construction plans that are currently being implemented, and it will be done before any plats or any CFCs are being requested on the property. Other than that, you know, I think that, I think someone was mentioning about what's the best approach. You know, the Garden Lane and South Street, right now it's a narrow road, probably about 12 foot at most. It's not a county standard road for any reason. But as part of that, we're going to have to add shoulders to it because it's going to become an emergency access provision. So the fire department's saying, that's wide, but we need, you know, a hardened shoulder on both sides. And we can still stay within that right-of-way. So that's really been looked at quite carefully by your staff and by your fire department, your police department, everything else. You know, that neighborhood has been there a long time. I would say it's underserved by the county. And we talked about that at length when we were originally getting the southern piece approved. But at the time, there was no other option for access. Now we've got an option for access. We're just basically building a phase two of an existing community. And like I said, you know, MI Homes has tried to be as more than upfront with everybody that's buying in the community of the potential for that. At the time, obviously, that cul-de-sac was stuck down there. There is no other way to cross-access these two properties. But, you know, they've made every attempt to do that. They've been meeting with the board, and notifications were sent out to, you know, the community through the HOA. And so I think there's a board meeting coming up in September to kind of talk through the costs and the sharing of costs with this new community. So other than that, I really appreciate your support. Your staff thinks that we meet all of your codes and all your requirements, including accessibility, and we appreciate your support moving forward. Any questions? Sure.
Well, can you comment as to what the design looks like for the cul-de-sac in relation to the playground equipment and what can be done for safety?
Well, my understanding is that the cul-de-sac, the pavement's going to remain substantially the same, but then there'll be a road stubbed, so it'll be kind of like a turnaround. Someone was mentioning a roundabout. It won't be an official roundabout because those have bigger requirements. But essentially, the road, you'll go to the cul-de-sac, and then there'll be a road just continuing on down it. And the reason that we have to adjust the location of the playground is simply because when we had to redefine the boundaries of the two PDs, we created two tracks. So we can't put a playground on two tracks. We have to put it on one, so we have to adjust it a little bit. But essentially, it's what you're seeing. Except you get to that cul-de-sac, and there'll be a continuation of, can't remember what the name of that road is, but that road will continue forward.
Can anything be done to at least try to reassure some of these parents about safety in the playground? I mean, can a small fence or something? I mean,
Yeah.
what are you willing to do in that respect?
And we definitely can review that, a hedge, a fence, you know, like you said, just because of the, you know, anticipated more traffic, we definitely can consider that.
Excuse me. Joy, can you address was the staff happy with the safety of the playground under this design?
Yes, and it is an option to put in the development order if you would like some type of aluminum fencing around the playground, you know, just to make it a little safer so they can be contained a little easier. I mean, that's definitely an option. Or like Tom stated, a tall hedge or something of that nature.
And one thing, just to note that when it was originally approved, there was no playground required by the county. The developer put it in because obviously people want it.
Sure.
So that's why, staff, it's like they look at the staff report and they say, well, it wasn't really required, but they did install it. And, yeah, we can look at adding certain things in to keep children protected from cars.
Yeah, I just think that, there's a lot of people here with a lot of concerns, and that seems like an easy one to address. It's almost insulting to not address it at all. So it sounds like something easy to be done.
Yes, and absolutely. And again, we're at 30,000 feet, taking two PDs and tying them together. So we haven't delved in. When we do the preliminary subdivision plan for the Hidden Oaks, that's when the detail will be more there'll be more detail provided.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and Bill and Mr. White and I were just discussing, so you will also have an opportunity to review the PSP, which will have a little bit more detail as far as what that layout will look like. So, we can certainly look at it at that time as well.
How many homes are occupied in Cadence Park? I'm sorry.
Well, according to the staff report, there's like 73 and another 25 under construction.
There's one that is not occupied yet, that has not gotten a CO. All other houses in the neighborhood are occupied.
Okay.
91. So, yeah, 91.
So,
And I would like to say, I took that information from the building
So they
permits
turned over
on
the
file.
HOA?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry? No, the HOA turnover has not happened yet.
I'm sorry?
Because they own the second parcel, so technically we're not at the HOA turnover now. Yep,
So it sounds like we could make a motion conditional on that fence.
At the very least, do that for them, It's such an easy thing.
You guys, zoning at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
Has there been any discussion as far as putting in some speed bumps to help slow down the traffic?
Just to rezone.
No, there's not. It's private roads, so that really
Right.
would be an HOA discussion.
But you haven't turned over the HOA yet, right? It's still the
Well-
developers.
Meaning, like, what they have said is that they will, because construction traffic, and this is normal, when you're done with a project, you come back and resurface it. They have told the HOA board, I don't know, to what extent they've related to the community, but after construction of this second phase, they will go in and put another lift of asphalt over all the roads as part of that to restore any damage or anything like that. That answer your question?
Has there been discussion, though, from the community as far as wanting to put in some speed bumps to help to slow down the traffic, especially in front of the playground area?
No, not that
none?
I'm aware of, and I don't think anybody even thought of that. So we can certainly bring that back to the HOA board when they meet and see. And, if MI Homes is controlling the HOA, then they would be responsible to make that happen.
Okay.
But this
as
is
you
a rezone request, so we'll see this again, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as you know, you put a speed bump in, and you got driveways, you got drainage, there's a lot going in there, so.
Any more questions? A motion?
Are we close to public comment?
Yeah, we close public comment. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from PD plan development to PD plan development and approve the associated master development plan and development order on 29.2 acres located on the south side of North Ronald Reagan Boulevard, approximately 1/4 mile east of County Home Road.
Do we have a second?
There was some discussion as far as putting in some conditions. We're interested in doing that.
I think with the board discussion, we were saying that we're going to see this again.
Yeah, this
So
is-
it
that
doesn't
would
have to
be
be
the-
done, or shouldn't
Yeah,
be
this
done
is
at
a
this phase
rezone.
because it's straight rezoning.
Just rezoning, yeah.
We will
But,
see it again.
For the record, this is a PD, so you can put conditions on this.
Okay.
And you'll only see, actually, this is Cadence Park.
Park,
So
yeah.
this project will not come back before this board again.
What,
Okay.
the road and...
Yes, so the connection between Cadence Park and Hidden Oaks, you will see the Hidden Oaks preliminary subdivision plan next month that you can review, but this portion of the rezone will not come to P and Z again. It'll have to go to BCC and then...
So if they wanted any
So we have to add
conditions
it
on
now.
the fence, that would have to be
Yes.
So we do
on. You're going to see another item after this for the southern portion, so any conditions related to those things could be placed on that item.
Well, I want to be interested in seconding it, and unless we have some kind of condition to put in some safety for the playground area.
Do you want to make a new motion?
Modify your motion.
Whether it's speed bumps or...
Somebody will have to guide me on how to put the condition in.
Is
Staff?
there going to be public notice on that, so we can have a voice in that?
I'm sorry, of what portion are you
You've
speaking
had-
of?
On the next portion?
It's going to be presented next,
Okay.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little messy. They're both tied together.
Staff would like to recommend a condition that we can include in the motion
Okay, is this for the playground?
for the playground, some type
Okay.
of fence you mentioned. aluminum.
Safety for...
Yeah, to make it more safe.
I believe the playground will be in the second.
Well, no, the playground is actually going to be in
Okay,
this
good, okay.
Cadence Park
Yeah.
PD.
Correct, we have to move it.
Okay.
So we could put a condition in there that some type of open fencing or continuous hedge of a certain height should be put around the perimeter of the playground area.
Open fencing, not hedge.
Yeah.
Like an open aluminum picket fence or something of that
Aluminum
nature.
picket fence.
We do the black aluminum picket fence quite regularly, so if it needs to be a 48-inch black aluminum picket fence around the playground, we would be amenable to installing that. And we are going to look at the opportunity for doing some on-street parking in the cul-de-sac. We just haven't fully figured all that out. We're just trying to kind of make the connections right now.
Sure.
So I apologize. Tina Demosthenes and my homes.
Thanks.
So can I add to the motion
Yes.
to include or to require open fencing at the playground area?
You can modify the motion, sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm modifying it
So I'll
without
second that.
reading again.
Okay, so he's modified the motion. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good job. Okay, number 8, Hidden Oaks PD, Major Amendment Rezone. Project Manager, Joy Giles.
So this,
Is it no one? Okay. No.
Are we ready for the second item now?
Yes.
okay. Okay, so this request is for a PD major amendment rezone from PD to PD on 31.87 acres. And this is to add the .33 acres from Cadence Park to Hidden Oaks, located approximately 1,700 feet south of the intersection of North Ronald Reagan Boulevard and Red Pine Way. Okay. And just to reiterate from the previous item, so in October of 2020, the Board of County Commissioners approved the Hidden Oaks PD on 31.52 acres located directly south of Cadence Park. Hidden Oaks was approved for 109 residential lots to be developed in 3 phases. Access was originally approved from Gardens Drive and South Lane with a secondary gated emergency-only access from Sunnyside Drive. Oops. The applicant is now requesting a major amendment in order to incorporate that 0.33 acres to provide connectivity for vehicular and pedestrian connectivity, I should say. So the main access point will be from Cadence Park. The original access point will be removed from Hidden Oaks, and there will be one emergency access point from South Lane. I believe. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. The proposed amendment still supports the objectives of the PD zoning designation by exceeding the minimum required 25% open space. The Hidden Oaks PD currently requires, let's see, 7.97 acres of open space, and it will be providing 8.57 acres. In compliance with the Seminole County Land Development Code, the applicant did conduct a community meeting on June 13th, 2022. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from plan development to plan development on 31.87 acres as requested. Thank you.
Okay. Questions from the board? Sounded like we've covered this ground already.
We had the other half.
Applicant?
Tom Daly, Daly Design Group, 913 North Pennsylvania Avenue, Winter Park, Florida. The one thing I forgot to mention, Mr. Jackson, is that the emergency access that was coming right in front of your house is going to be removed and not be required.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. The only emergency access is right directly, if you keep going down South Lane, straight into the property. Other than that, here to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board? Okay, would any member of the audience wish to speak in favor or opposition to this request? Please come down to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening again. My name's Dan Borden, 2686 Hinoki Cypress Place, Sanford, Florida. As we all know, this is regarding Cadence Park. As much as we can say it's a different community or whatever, but it's going to be part of Cadence Park. The only thing I can reiterate is safety with the new development as well. I mean, of course, fire department access is being provided for the back end of the property, but in consideration for additional exits from Cadence Park to Ronald Reagan, it would be nice to have an exit out from the rear to the west divided turn lane road access that's there to be able to make the left turn onto Ronald Reagan instead of doing the U-turn. But however, you know, as a safety standpoint, it's one way or the other, because, you know, people are going to go 60 miles an hour down this road unless we really start enforcing it, because, you know, I've almost been hit too. So it's a very bad situation, especially at County Home Road, making that left turn, coming off there. People are traveling 70 miles an hour, and at nighttime it's very dark. Maybe some lighting on the roadway would be better, because it's hard to judge, and God forbid anyone doesn't have their lights on that road and you don't see them, you're going to pull out in front of them and not see. I roll my windows down every time at the intersection at County Home Road, making the turn to go to Cadence Park, going east, just for fear of not seeing a car coming with their lights off at night. But just in regards to MI Homes providing the new development, it's going to be horrible for everyone in the neighborhood, because construction's going to go on for another 2-3 years. I don't know, we can't do anything about it, but maybe mandate hours for the construction, not to be past 6 o'clock, I mean, in the evenings. Like, you know, I mean, of course, you know, you can't dictate how late workers are going to work with their schedule, but I mean, thankfully our home got done. But I mean, it's a tough situation out there building homes, so I can't say that, you know, everyone's going to leave at the specified time, because otherwise people's houses won't get done. But at this point, it's just safety through Cadence Park. That's the issue right now with me personally, because when that road gets built and homes start, I don't know if you're going to build from the back forward like you did front back, I don't know, but you know, that's going to be a straight through. It's going to be an issue with people speeding. That's why I recommend putting a roundabout there to calm that intersection down, because of course it's coming to a T intersection based on how you have it designed there, so it's going to be a stop, but at the same time people are going to beeline it back there. So there's got to be some consideration for the speed through the community. Thank you.
Can I do a quick question of staff?
Sure.
Will anything be addressed at any point in the process regarding speed on, I guess we're going to extend Monterey Cypress down into Hidden Oaks. Will that ever be something that the county brings up?
Are you referencing the speed on the internal roadway?
Yeah.
Well, no, it'd be the standard 25 mile an hour.
Well, I don't mean the speed limits. I just mean in terms of safety and encouraging people to abide more by the limit. That's not something the county would be concerned about at any stage of the...
Well, not within the private roadway system.
I think the HOA would address it.
At the
Would have to-
HOA.
Once they get control.
Okay, that's true.
One comment for the gentleman, if you have concerns about lighting on Ronald Reagan, that's Commissioner Zimbauer area?
Yes.
Yeah, you could talk to Commissioner Zimbauer's office. That's his area. This is not part of the planning process. Any other comments for or against, please come down to the podium. State your name and address, please.
Again, Aaron Michelet, 2694 Hanoki Cypress, Sanford, Florida. My only concern, we just passed the other one, so my only concern again is the one entranceway through this whole neighborhood with 400 cars. That's a lot, like we've mentioned, no one goes 45 on Ronald Reagan. Even when sheriffs are sitting out there, no one's going 45. They're just pulling over, the one's going 80. If we at least had the exit out, it gives somebody the opportunity to make, there's about 4 more turnaround spots that we can do that you actually have clear line of sight all the way down Ronald Reagan to be able to safely make that U-turn back to 1792. I still have a really hard time believing that it is safe to put now 3 lanes and try and make a right-hand turn out of there on a blind turn to then go down to the U-turn spot that I know we all bought into, to another blind turn to make another U-turn where people are flying around that corner at 70 miles an hour. I think allowing us to at least have a way to get out other than mainly on one entrance with 2 blind curves is a safe bet for 400 cars. At least we can split the difference. 200 can go out either way. All 400 can go out the front if they want. I can go out the back if I want. It just makes it safer for everybody. That's the only thing I'd like you guys to consider is at least keeping that one entrance open, which I also agree would make the houses in, I think, Midway Park, they actually have a new road that gets to get redone because MI has to fix it because cars are actually going to have to use it now. So that's my consideration, so I appreciate it.
When you do have an HOA, you could approach Sheriff Lima.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
They will do enhanced traffic enforcement.
I believe in the last HOA meeting, they submitted paperwork to them.
Okay.
So I believe it's flowing.
Just be aware, they may be then ticketing residents.
That's fine.
And the one that you're asking to keep open is the emergency exit that we're talking about closing?
Yes, ma'am.
It's on Sunnyside?
Yeah, just keep that, even if it's an exit only, I would prefer
No,
if
south,
it's an exit only entrance and exit. Just the ability to get more cars safely onto Ronald Reagan is all I'm asking.
Can we clarify that? I had a different understanding of the entrance.
Yeah, I was going to just clarify, that would have been South Lane. So the one off of Sunnyside is
Yes,
not.
right, not Sunnyside, the one off south, it's all the way at the top here.
Yeah.
I know I might be over my 2 minutes, I apologize.
That's okay.
It's like right in this general area right here. It comes all the way out to Ronald Reagan. It's the first U-turn on Ronald Reagan, maybe second U-turn. But all I'm asking is just keep that open because there's a bunch of U-turn spots all the way down. That's all I'm asking.
I'm going to move, I think we have a better exhibit.
None of them are blown out enough to really see it.
So it's a little further north than was indicated by the gentleman on that map.
And currently, that's open, but it's going to be closed to be emergency access only. That's...
The south lane was the primary access to Hidden Oaks. Now it's going to be an emergency access only, and the other access is going to be removed completely. I would like to make a correction as well. I was just discussing with Tom. The tot lot area is actually going to be in Hidden Oaks because they had to do some shifting. So Hidden Oaks is going to have a portion of the tot lot area. So we can put that condition in this development order as well for Hidden Oaks.
So we are you saying we put it in the wrong?
We put it
order?
in Cadence Park. We can
Yeah.
also put it in Hidden Oaks just
Okay.
to cover it in
Okay.
both areas.
So you have this down pat now.
No, just listening to you.
Any other comments for or against?
Hello, my name is Leslie Chavez. I live in 2883 Gardens Drive, and I oppose because with seeing that it will be, what my road will be the main entrance to that other community, my biggest concern will be with traffic. Well, they said they're not gonna make another entrance on Sunnyside. My dad is here, he lives there as well. But yeah, making an entrance or an exit on Sunnyside, it makes no sense. And like I said, that was my biggest concern with traffic. So many cars coming in and out, it's just not, it will disrupt with the tranquility of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments for or against?
So, well, just to clarify, so the proposal is to create an emergency-only access now and close the main access, yes.
Okay. Please state your name and address, please.
My name's Adam Jackson. I live at 5114 Sunnyside Avenue. I am for them putting the emergency access on South Street only. I'm kind of concerned about all the traffic it's going to bring to the neighborhood. All my neighbors have had the opportunity to be at this public hearing. I found the sign laying in the bushes in the back and posted it up in the middle of the neighborhood so everybody would find it. Informed as many people as I could, but people have their own decisions to make. I'm concerned about traffic. I'm already seeing a bunch of traffic coming down to the end of my road and turning around, bless you, because they're lost, they don't know where they're going, they're exploring. I understand that. Is there any way we can get dead-end signs there so nobody's coming down there and turning around, for one? I believe that it was stated they were going to put a barrier wall up, a concrete pre-formed barrier wall. Soon, please, because we're getting a lot of dust and debris blowing over from the construction site, and I know nobody's in control of the weather, but, and also the entranceway, coming out of South Street, Gardens Drive, whatever you want to call it. They've got bushes in the median that you can't see around to pull out, so that's going to be a hazard too, even if it's just an emergency exit. And I would hope that you would be able to look into it. I believe that you'll have the power to make these decisions, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments for or against? Would the applicant like to speak?
Only to reiterate what Joy was saying, what I've noticed in your Exhibit B of the Master Development Order for Cadence Park PD, you can see that there's an area down there by that cul-de-sac, that's the area that's being removed from Cadence Park and incorporated into Hidden Oaks. That's the location of the tot lot, which means when we review the preliminary subdivision plan, you will be able to see any of the fencing, landscaping, and all of that stuff, and in better detail, look at the tot lot. So that will be part of the review.
So Joy, this is the one that will come back in front of us?
Right.
Yes. Yes, this Hidden Oaks PSP will come back in front of you next month.
Now, were you saying that for planes for your site, you would like to have the motion with the same conditions as the previous motion?
But yes, we can
Okay.
put that in both development orders.
That'll help
just
you.
to cover that, yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I do. With the emergency access area, what would that look like exactly? I mean, are we talking about just an access point that's going to have a chain across it? Is something that's going to have a gate, or is this premature? we have to wait for the site plan on that.
Our neighborhood has a bunch of triangles at the emergency exit. A bunch of red triangles at the end of the, straight to the steps. Like 4 red triangles.
Is there a standard for that?
Well, it would just be it would be gated, and it would have to probably have a knock box on it for emergency vehicles.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions? Motion? Since you know what to say.
What did I say the first time? Yes, I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance enacting a rezone from PD Plan Development to PD Plan Development, and approve the associated master development plan and development order on 31.87 acres located approximately 1,700 feet south of the intersection of North Ronald Reagan Boulevard and Red Pine Way, with the addition of the same open aluminum fence safety requirements
around the top lot.
Around the top lot.
Excellent motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, at this point, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you for your patience, particularly the young lady in the pink. She's been very patient. All right, closing business. Planning manager, do you have any more business?
Yeah, good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank Doug Robinson for filling in for me last month. I guess you guys didn't scare him away because, yeah, he's still in the back here, so thank you. I believe Mr. Robinson also discussed the Envision Seminole 2045 project that we're doing. I just want to extend my personal invitation to our visioning conference, which will be August 24th. And it starts around 11 a.m. We'll be serving lunch at 12:30. It will go until 7 p.m. You do not have to be there the whole time. There'll be many sessions throughout the day, but you can visit our website, Envision Seminole 2045, and register. And even if you don't attend the conference, please, I encourage you to take the survey. Put it on your Facebook pages, let everybody else know. We really want to make sure that people are participating and taking that survey, so thank you.
Okay. Does the board have anything further to discuss?
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.